Hello guys, welcome to Open Techno. In today's video, we've gone out into the street to test a new scooter. It's the Meepo City Rider 3, scooter that has it all. It's very sturdy, has a lot of power, a big battery, and it's very easy to handle and agile. It really has everything. I've been testing it for 3 or 4 months, and honestly, I've loved it. In this video, we're gonna review this scooter, and I'll also share some of my own stories, because honestly, I've already fallen a couple of times. First of all, I want to introduce you to the aesthetics, the dimensions, the weight, and these kinds of aspects before moving on to my opinion. Specifically, this is a scooter that is 94 centimeters long, almost a meter, and 25 centimeters wide, which for me, since I wear a size 44 shoe, allows me to place the full width of my foot on the deck without any problem. It's quite wide and quite long compared to, for example, other scooters we've seen on the channel, and well, a relative scooter that I've also tried a few times. The weight is one of the drawbacks of this type of device. It weighs 13.8 kilograms, which is quite heavy if you try to carry it by hand. That's not the idea. I mean, the point is that it has a motor, so we can move it with the motor. However, most of this weight comes from the battery. The battery gives us a range of 35 kilometers. It's true that I've pushed it pretty hard during these months that I've been testing it, so my range has been lower, around 25 kilometers or so. However, it's also true that if we take a road or a well-paved bike lane going at about 25 kilometers per hour at a constant speed, we can definitely get those 30 or 35 kilometers of range. Well, as you know, this depends a lot on the conditions. Then, regarding the motor, this scooter is sold with 2 types of motors. In this case, we have the less powerful one, so to speak, but it's already pretty wild. We have one with rear-wheel drive, which would be this one, 2 motors, one on each rear wheel, which gives us 3,500 watts in each motor. That is a total of 7 kilowatts of power. It's absolutely insane, and the acceleration, since you're not holding on to anything, I'll tell you more about it later, but it seems absurd to me. We also have a version with all-wheel drive, meaning it has 4 motors. The maximum speed of this scooter reaches 48 kilometers per hour. That's something I have to tell you, I haven't been able to experience myself. Because when I get to around 25 or so, I don't have stability. I'm very clumsy and the scooter starts to wobble. And no, I don't see it as safe, so my maximum speed is around 20 to 25 kilometers per hour, more or less. The battery, as I mentioned, has 544 watt hours, which is practically half a kilowatt hour of capacity, which is quite a lot. It's a very good capacity for a scooter of this type. And the maximum weight it can support is 150 kilograms, 150 kilograms. And not only that, but it can also climb slopes of up to 26 degrees of inclination. If you're used to driving cars, you know that mountain passes usually have a 9-degree slope, so this scooter is capable of climbing slopes of up to 26 degrees with a person on it. I'm telling you, the specs of this scooter are insane. As you can see, it looks pretty sturdy. Honestly, the wooden deck is really strong. The grip tape for your feet also feels great because it holds your shoes really well. We can equip 2 types of wheels. This one has road wheels, but we could use others. Off-road wheels if we want to go on different types of paths, which would be wider and better suited for that kind of terrain. However, honestly, the road wheels have given me a lot of confidence. They grip really well, no complaints in that regard. The motors transmit power to the wheels, interestingly, through a belt, which I suppose is partly to avoid that jolt I've experienced with other scooters, where acceleration can be very abrupt. Possibly this belt smooths out both acceleration and braking quite a bit, and this makes it very comfortable to ride. I'll tell you more about this later. Also, the power button and the charging port are on the underside of the scooter. If we turn the scooter over, we'll find something that I find very interesting. And that's because we have 2 shock absorbers or 2 bushings on each axle. That is, both the front and the rear. Normally, scooters usually have a single bushing, or I don't know, call it whatever you want, or suspension, but in this case, we have 2, and honestly, that's really great because I think this gives it a lot of agility. It turns really well and is very maneuverable, so we can turn as much as we want, because I've tried other scooters that I'm telling you in every way are much more on-off. This one is very easy to control. Also, I forgot to mention the wheels don't have an inner tube and aren't air-filled. They're solid, which means we won't get a flat, and I don't think they're hard either. Honestly, they feel pretty soft. We ride on asphalt that's bumpy, or this kind of asphalt that's really rough with potholes, and it handles really well. Lastly, charging time. The battery charges in 3 hours. It has fast charging, which is great because this kind of device usually takes about 8 hours or so to charge. It charges in 3 hours, very easy. And then we have the remote control, which charges via USB-C and has 3 buttons. We can adjust the speed and braking from the remote control, of course. I want to mention that it's very easy to control. If we want to accelerate just a little and move very slowly, we can do it. With other scooters, it's not like that. It's more on or off. And then we have different controls for both maximum speed and power delivery, as well as for braking. In fact, we have 4 options in each of these modes. And I'm telling you, I use the braking on level 2 and the acceleration on level 2. If we set the braking higher, it's going to skid. We're going to fall if we try to brake hard, because as I said, it brakes a lot. And I think acceleration above level 2 is dangerous. Level 3 already starts to pull hard, which we could handle, but then with the maximum speed, if we keep the throttle fully open, it's going to be unstable, so I like it on level 2. From the remote control, we can see both the scooter's battery and the remote's own battery to monitor how much range we have left. We can also put the device in reverse in case we want to move without getting off or whatever, so we can put it in reverse and it will move both forward and backward. Now let's talk a bit about the riding experience. As I mentioned, I really like this scooter because it's very easy to handle. It's very easy to handle, for example, when riding on tight, twisty courses. Even though it's quite big, it handles very well, it turns a lot, and it gives you a lot of confidence. It's also quite sturdy. Honestly, I've taken it through all kinds of terrain. It behaves really well, and it's very forgiving. Everything is in its place. I mean, the build quality is a 10, and then what I like the most is the power delivery. If we want to, we can adjust our speed 1 km/h at a time. The control is extremely precise. This is great because with other scooters, starting can be jerky and make you almost fall back, so you have to stay tense and ready. Not with this one. With this one, you get on right away. It goes very smoothly. You can ride it at whatever speed you want. It handles really well. If I had to point out a flaw, it would be the charger. The charger is something that's pretty heavy, and if we want to carry it with us to charge it at work or something like that, we won't be able to because it weighs quite a bit. Plus, it's pretty bulky. I think that's the only downside of this device, if I had to mention one. Lastly, I want to point out that as I mentioned, this is the rear-wheel drive version. It starts at around 1,000 euros, and it goes up to about 2,000 for the all-wheel drive version, unless you want to go off-road. This version is more than enough in terms of power. The other one would have 14 kilowatts of power, which is practically like an electric car. And now comes the part where I also tell you an anecdote. Honestly, I had a great time with this scooter. It's a lot of fun. Since you're not holding on, there's some insecurity about falling because you can't grab anything. You can't brake hard and must rely on yourself and your balance. This has meant that on a couple of occasions while doing a circuit, honestly trying to beat my own times and so on, well, getting a bit hooked and challenging myself, I had 2 falls, which is normal. If we push these things too far, we'll have nothing to hold on to and can end up on the ground if it gets unstable. That's why I always recommend wearing protection, especially a helmet. And then, if you're going to do something more dangerous, at least wear hand protection and even elbow pads or something for your butt. Something I really liked about Meepo is also their after-sales customer service. And I mention this because there have been other scooters I've tried where when I went to their website, I couldn't find all kinds of accessories for sale. But for this one, yes. For this one, like I said at the beginning, we can change the wheels. We can buy these same ones. We can change the motors. We can change the motor belt. We can buy the deck again, the grip tape, and so on. A ton of accessories and customizations, or simply replacements for wear and tear. The rear wheels, since they're the ones that provide traction, end up wearing out quite a bit, and there will come a day when we'll have to replace them. Well, we can get them very easily on the manufacturer's official website. Plus, you can replace them by undoing a single nut. It's really simple. Like I said, it's a really fun device. I've really enjoyed it, but I'd like to hear your thoughts. If you have questions, have bought one, or own a similar device, let me know. I'm not a professional. You probably saw in the footage that I'm pretty unsteady, I'm slow, I'm being extra careful. Now comes the moment when I want to ask you if you've ever had a device like this. If you use it in your daily life, if you would buy one. We'll leave the cheapest price we find in the description, as always. And I'd also like you to leave a like if you enjoyed the video and found it interesting. So that's it, guys. This is the review of the Meepo City Rider 3.1 of the most complete and well-balanced scooters you'll be able to find in terms of quality and price. I know it's expensive, but I'm telling you, it's worth every euro it costs. And honestly, every aspect of this scooter is a 10 out of 10. So that's it, guys. With that said, I hope you liked it. As I said, leave a like and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.